Have you ever felt drawn to a glass of wine? Not for its taste, but for the silence it promises, as if that dark liquid holds an answer, a pause, an escape. Perhaps you've never stopped to think about it, but alcohol, this silent companion of so many nights, it's not just a drink, it's a symbol, a portal, a living metaphor for what we seek and for what we avoid. The word alcohol comes from the Arabic al-kul, which means spirit. Isn't that curious? A substance that alters the mind, called a spirit, as if by drinking we were trying to invoke something we lost, something we long to remember. In ancient alchemy, alcohol was the essence extracted through distillation, not just a chemical process, but a ritual, a quest for purity, for transformation, for the refinement of matter and of the soul. Just as raw liquid is heated, evaporated, condensed, the soul too is tested, elevated, purified. But today, do we use this essence with awareness? Alcohol appears in moments of celebration, but also in moments of pain. It accompanies laughter and tears. It is the toast and the refuge. But what are we truly seeking when we raise a glass? Is it only pleasure? Or is it an attempt to fill a void, to silence a restlessness, to reconnect with something forgotten? The anxiety that drives us to alcohol is often a call from the soul, a silent cry for meaning, for peace, for transcendence. But instead of listening to this call, we numb it with sips, with distractions, with illusions. The subconscious knows, it recognizes the pattern, it senses the repetition. It understands that what we seek outside is what's missing inside. And that is why alcohol, though it offers relief, never satisfies, because it does not answer the real question. It only postpones it. This video is not about condemnation. It is about understanding. It is about looking at the glass and seeing the mirror. Because alcohol is not the problem. It is the messenger. It reveals. It points. And if you are here, listening to these words, it's because something inside you wants more, wants to understand, wants to transform. The journey begins now. Not with judgment, but with presence, with courage, with truth. Take a deep breath. Feel your body. Observe your thoughts, and allow this reflection to touch not only your mind, but your soul. Welcome. You are not alone. We are together on this journey. Alcohol, ego, soul. Three faces of the same search, the search for yourself. Throughout history, alcohol has been present in decisive moments of humanity, in sacred rituals, in celebrations, in silent farewells. It has been a symbol of communion and also of escape. It has marked the beginning of unions and tried to erase the end of love. But what lies behind this substance that crosses cultures, centuries, and consciousness? In alchemy, alcohol was seen as the essence extracted through distillation, not just a liquid, but a living metaphor of spiritual transformation. Just as raw metal is refined, The soul is also tested, elevated, polished. But today, do we use this essence with reverence or with forgetfulness? In many spiritual traditions, alcohol is seen as an obstacle to clarity, to presence, to connection with the divine. In Buddhism, avoiding intoxicants is one of the 5 basic precepts because they cloud the mind and pull the practitioner away from mindfulness. In Hinduism, ancient texts associate alcohol with moral decline, loss of discipline, separation from truth. In Sufism, physical wine is discouraged, while divine wine represents spiritual love, the intoxication of the soul, the dissolution of the ego into the ocean of the sacred. In Christian Gnosticism, the wine of the world symbolizes material pleasures, which divert the soul from its eternal purpose. Even in the Bible, wine carries duality. It is the symbol of Christ's blood, but also called a mocker. Strong drink is seen as a brawler, and whoever is overcome by it is not wise. These reflections are not dogmas. They are invitations. Invitations to look beyond the liquid and see what it represents. Because perhaps what we seek in alcohol is not flavor, nor sensation. Perhaps it is an attempt to touch something forgotten, something within that feels distant. Think of how many times alcohol appeared in your life, in moments of pain, celebration, loneliness, euphoria. It was there, as a silent companion, as a bridge between what you feel and what you don't want to feel. But is it really a bridge or just a detour? The anxiety that drives us to alcohol is often a misunderstood energy, a force that, if wisely channeled, can become creation, transformation, awakening. Great spiritual masters spoke of this. Rumi said that physical wine is a cheap imitation of divine ecstasy. Osho saw alcohol as an anesthesia, an attempt to avoid facing pain. Yogananda spoke of how alcohol disturbs the harmony between body and mind, making meditation and connection with the spirit more difficult. They were not merely talking about a substance, they were talking about a pattern, about a choice, about a search. Because deep down, what we all want is peace, is meaning, is connection. But often, we seek it in places that cannot give it to us, in liquids, in distractions, in illusions. This video is a mirror, an invitation to look within, to recognize that alcohol is not the villain, but neither is it the hero. It is only a reflection of what has not yet been resolved, what has not yet been embraced, what has not yet been transformed. And if you are here, listening to these words, it's because something inside you wants more, wants to understand, wants to awaken. The journey continues, and it goes deeper, because what we are truly seeking is not in the glass, it is in the soul. Transforming the impulse for alcohol is possible, but it's not about willpower, nor repression. It's about listening, about presence, about reconnection. Because what leads us to the glass is not desire for the liquid, it's the desire for relief, for silence, for meaning. And that desire is legitimate, it's human, it's spiritual. But when we seek outside what can only be found inside, we create a cycle of euphoria and frustration, of escape and return, of numbness and emptiness. Transformation begins when we stop, when we breathe, when we look at discomfort and ask, "What are you trying to show me?" Anxiety, restlessness, pain, they are all messengers. They are not here to punish us, they are here to teach us. And there are paths that not only relieve, that heal. Paths that do not disconnect us, but reveal us. Meditation is one of these paths. Sitting in silence, observing the breath, feeling the body, is like opening a window to the spirit. At first, it may seem hard, unsettling, even frustrating, but with time, the mind quiets, the body aligns, and the soul begins to speak. Mindfulness is another path, being present in the now, tasting the food, hearing the sound of the wind, feeling the water on your hands. These simple moments are portals to the sacred, to the real, to what has always been there, but which alcohol often obscures.
The body also needs care. Physical exercise, conscious breathing, movement with intention. Because the body is the temple of the soul, and when we care for it, the soul blossoms. But there is something even deeper, something that transforms anxiety into greatness, into power, into light. It is sincere motivation, the desire to serve, to grow, to align with something greater. When our intention is pure, anxiety dissolves because it no longer needs to push us. It begins to guide us. Alcohol promises relief, but delivers forgetting. It promises connection, but delivers disconnection. Spiritual practices promise presence and deliver truth. They do not take us away from pain. They teach us to dance with it, to listen to it, to transform it. Because every pain is a seed, and when embraced, it blossoms into wisdom. The ego wants to escape. The soul wants to feel. The ego wants to control. The soul wants to trust. The ego seeks outside. The soul reveals within. And when we begin to listen to the soul, the glass loses its shine. Alcohol loses its power, because what once seemed essential now seems small. The journey is not easy, but it is true. And everything true sets you free. You do not need to punish yourself, nor hide. You only need to remember who you are, what you came to seek, what you already carry within. Anxiety is the call. Practice is the path. Awareness is the key. And you are the alchemist. Every day, we are invited to choose between momentary pleasure and lasting truth, between distraction and awareness, between forgetting and awakening. Alcohol, like the ego, is a fork in the road, a silent crossroads, a choice we make sometimes without noticing. But when we stop, when we breathe, when we look within, something changes. The glass ceases to be a refuge and reveals itself as a mirror, a reflection of what has not yet been embraced, of what has not yet been healed.
The anxiety that drives us to alcohol is a sign, a reminder that we are alive, that we care, that there is something within us that wants to bloom. But that blooming does not happen in escape. It happens in presence, in listening, in surrender. When we trade the habit of seeking outside for the act of diving within, transformation begins. And it is not a noisy transformation. It is subtle, silent, but deep. Pain begins to dissolve. The emptiness begins to fill. Restlessness begins to calm. Because what once seemed unbearable now seems understandable. And what once seemed distant now feels intimate. Meditation teaches us to observe. Prayer teaches us to trust. Mindfulness teaches us to be. These practices are not just techniques, they are paths. Paths to the soul, paths to the real, paths to what has always been there, but which alcohol often covered. True intoxication does not come from the glass. It comes from the encounter with the divine, with the silence that heals, with the light that reveals, with the love that does not demand, but embraces. And you? Are you ready for this encounter? Because everything you seek is already within, waiting for you, calling for you, whispering in every moment of pain, in every restless night, in every sip that doesn't satisfy. The journey of the soul is not about perfection. It is about presence. It is about courage. It is about remembering. Remembering that you are more than your habits, more than your escapes, more than your pain. You are awareness. You are light. You are living alchemy. And if you've come this far, it's because something inside you has already begun to awaken. It has already begun to move. It has already begun to remember. Thank you for being here, for listening, for feeling, for allowing this message to touch not only your mind, but your soul. The journey continues, and it is yours. If this reflection touched you, like the video, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you wish to walk this path with me, subscribe to the channel.